are in Shaar Aleph, Perek Tes Zayin of the Nefesh Hachaim, in the Hagah. And here in the Hagah, just go over it quickly and then just see how this affects us. Ba'inyan al pi zeh yaskel ha'mayin lahavin al pi pashut. According to this that we just said, what did we just say? We just said that the neshama of a person is no longer has atzmusay shel yisbarach, the cheftza of God in it, and that goes into us. He says that's not what's going on. What's going on is that what we have is nitzotzos of or that come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what, it's an existential question. What are we? What do we have within us? So it might be pretty to say that we have God within us, but he says no, that's not what we have within us at all. What we have is the nitzotzos of or, and he does tell us that, however, if you recall, under Marishan before the Chet, that was different. He had Atzmusa Yisbarach, which to me is, for lack of a better word, a red herring, because what that does is it opens up a whole possibility, which he goes on to say is impossible philosophically. So a red herring is the pshat that if you're a fisherman and you're looking for salmon, so you find one salmon and you let it lead you to the school of salmon, but the fisherman can follow it for hours and hours and find out that it wasn't a salmon at all, it was a red herring. And it doesn't lead you to anywhere, because red herrings are all alone. So I'm explaining that because that's a good mashal. That's a good mashal for what we're doing, so in the Hagah he says, "Val piza yaskel ha'ma'ayin lahavin al pi pashut inyan anisker b'zoyar parshas achrei." We could explain a zoyar. Everything starts to make sense. He says, "Shekut shabrichu v'araysev Yisrael miskashrin da b'da." Now I pointed out, and it's obvious that he's not quoting the zoyar that we always quote, and the one we always sing about. The one we always quote is Yisrael the araysev Shekut shabrichu chad hu. Chazon Ish saying that niggin. So it's chad. Chad sounds like Chadhu, right? Yisrael, let's leave the Torah out for a second. Yisrael el HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chadhu. What does that mean? That sounds like Atzmusai Yisbarach is in the Yisrael. So you sing that niggin, you're making a real statement on the one hand, but it's a very litvish niggin. But then he quotes the Zoyar, which says, it's really a different Zoyar, that says, Shekut shabrichu v'araysev Yisrael, you expect to see Chadhu, but no, miskashrin da b'da. There's a kesher. They connect to each other. Mashma that he held that this Zoyar is mefarish the first Zoyar. Chadhu doesn't make any sense to him, so we can get a pirush from Parshas Achrei, last week's parsha, that it's miskashrin da b'da v'aday oimek havanase l'soidos hamukim. This certainly means very deep things. But we can't say pashut pshat. And what's the pashut pshat? We started learning this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a hidden aspect to him and a revealed aspect to him. There the Zohar is talking about the Shem Hashem. It's read Yud Kei Vav Kei, and it's pronounced Aleph Daled Nun Yud. So it's like the ultimate Ksiv and Kri. So you're reading something completely different than what it says. Hahoyges Hashem Bais Yosef. If somebody would pronounce Yud Kei Vav Kei, says the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Ein lo chelek le'olam haba. Lama ad kedei kach. It's just not covered for Hashem, so we need to learn. Somebody asked me a very interesting shaila. I'll just put this on the side here. Somebody who's into these things said that does meditation. So you're not allowed to say the Yud Kei Vav Kei. We don't pronounce Yud Kei Vav Kei. Even there's a religion named after Yud Kei Vav Kei. Probably not allowed to say the name of that religion. You have to tell them, are you a Jehovah's Witness or something? You have to say it differently. But so he said to me, but in meditation, so you say words in your mind without actually saying it in your mouth. So is it okay to meditate Yud Kei Vav Kei and pronounce it in your mind without pronouncing it in your mouth. So the answer to that question is I have no idea. However, what the Gemara says is hoige es Hashem Bais Yosef. Hoige, the word hoge means to articulate. That's what it means. To emphasize, to articulate. Hoge. That's what the word means. So b'pashtus it means b'peh. But
higayon libi.
Right, the art means my words. Opposite. Hegyoin libi lefonecha. This that my heart is articulating. That's what that means. So just put the question aside because it might become maybe we'll paskin something here by the end. Kikuchabrichu sasim v'galya. On the one hand, he's sasim yud kevavke. The other hand, galya adnai. Ki atzmus adon kol eit soif baruch hu eloi musak. The atzmus of Hashem is not possible to understand. V'leis machshava tfisa beklal. There's no machshava lashon hazayir. Loi machshava. There is no machshava that can be tofes. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Forget about it. That's something you can be tofes. U'mashem musag lanu ma'at min amat. A little bit that we can chap. Hurak mitzad hischabrusay laha'ilamais me'esh Abraham v'chitshon. We can understand the connectivity. I understand. It's easier to understand. I'm saying a mashal that this light is giving off light because of electricity than it is to understand the electricity that's going on in the wall or in the generators. It's more esoteric. It's more elusive to understand like what's going on. We can understand the Poyel Yotze, like so. Do you understand electricity? Yes. You touch it, you get a shock. You turn it on, you get a light. You turn it on, you get a motor. So much you can get from electricity. So that's the hischabros, literally. Hischabros I love. There's a chibur that's going on from the makor to the Poel Yotze. Yes, it's hischabros, literally connectivity. So hischabros I love is something we can understand. We can see godliness in this world, but you're not seeing God. You're not seeing electricity. You're seeing electricity in action. You're seeing what happens when there's electricity, but you're not seeing electricity. Is that a good mashal? You don't see. Open the wall. You don't see electricity. Oh, look at a plug. You don't see electricity. You can only see the hischabros. You can see what happens when you are completing a circuit. So.
But again, we mean that we're not seeing electricity as whatever electricity is. So I think the same with Hashem. We don't see. This is very fundamental. It should be like in big letters. We're never going to understand. It
isn't. Yeah, I'm putting in big letters right now. Absolutely right. Extremely fundamental, right? That don't think. It's so easy to fool ourselves. There's a Moshe Rabbeinu saw a sled. Okay, so he saw the sled. He saw the Shechina. You can't say he saw God. I don't know what he saw in the Har Sinai. I don't know. Where he says Hachoyrais, Panai Loyere. I don't know. He got closer apparently. But you see a sled, it's like seeing a light. So when you see a light, you know that there's electricity. So do we believe in electricity? Ani babin b'amunah shlema that there's electricity. I believe it. Why? Because otherwise there wouldn't be a light. And I'm sure there are people in the case of electricity because of Gashmias, many engineers that do understand electricity. I don't. I try, but I just don't get it. I just don't understand. Like lightly, Benjamin Franklin, I don't get the whole. Thomas Edison, I don't get the whole. It's hard for me to understand the whole thing because I certainly don't understand God, but I can understand Hashgacha Pratis. I can understand the Bria. I can understand the Hischabrus. What happens when God connects Himself to this world? That I can understand, and that's how He's medayik the lashon of the Zohar that we just said. Shekuchabricha v'Arais of Yisrael miskashrin da b'da. It's a kasha. B'ashabusag lalabat v'labat hurak mitzad hischabrusay laha'elamais be'esh shebra v'chitshab lahachyosav v'lakaimam, that He keeps them, that He keeps them alive. Kol rega la'nigam ma'shekasav atzum achayes kulam. By the way, I mean, maybe this is a deeper way of understanding what's always quoted even to kids as the from the Chovos HaLevavos that that the Chovos HaLevavos says how can you believe and why do we believe in God? So the Chovos HaLevavos famously says that if you pour a bottle of ink on a table and it comes out to be letters and words, so nobody's going to say that there's no there's no writer here. That doesn't happen by accident. So the same thing, if you look at the world and the Bria, and it's so beautiful and so perfect that it is, it's just an amazing. I mean, if you look at any part of the Bria, look at the human body, the biology of the anatomy of the human body, hafla. It's just hafla how the whole thing works. Just as more I read about it, I'm fascinated by the more I read about it. Hafla. So you can't say that it's by accident. It's like a little bit, it's a little bit like stupid. It feels to say that it just happened like that. So maybe what the Chavis Havavas was saying though in Ba'omek Hadavar is, you can't understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm saying a chiddush here. what he's saying is, you're saying, I don't see God, how can I believe him? Well, look at the Bria. Okay, the Bria is a light. The Bria is a raya and a siman muvak that there's a boire. The Bria, the Nivra, is a siman that there's a boire. But you don't see the boire. You're not seeing the boire. It's not that the boire is of the tree. As hafludik as the tree is, or as the body is, or the human heart is, you're not seeing the boire, you're just seeing the work, his handiwork. That's what you're seeing. So it could be what he was saying, the Chavis Havavas, was a philosophical point, not just I'll bring you a raya that there's a God in this world. You with me? Like saying something deeper. When we praise Hashem in our tefillos, we say Chai Ha'olamim. Baruch Chai Ha'olamim. Chai Ha'olamim. Hadaras v'hamuna, right? What's that go?
L'chayei.
L'chayei Ha'olamim.
What's the difference?
Chayei is a matter of time, I think. Chayei.
Say l'chai.
L'chai Ha'olamim. So L'chai Ha'olamim means like we're giving Yeshar Koyach. Hadaras v'hamuna to who? To who? To Rebbe. L'chai Ha'olamim. To he who is, the way he's explaining it, miskasher to the world. Amina ve'abracha l'chai olam. Right? That suvemen is strategically placed in that song. Interesting. Usually put Yiddish in song.
It's not just college, so it's all Bria.
The Bria, everything Hashem created, the planets,
The
universe. Okay.
Rebbe,
Where's the world in that? I mean, yeah.
in terms of the place of the physical Bria, those who deal with the fundamental physical forces in the world, gravity and these kinds of things, they're explained by 6 constants that can define the formulas in physics for all those different forces, magnetism, gravity. The entire universe only exists because of these physical universe. Because these 6 constants interact with each other in a perfect way to like 1,000,000 decimal points. If it was off, if one of them was off,
Whole thing fall
by a
apart.
millionth of a decimal point, the whole world wouldn't be able to hold together.
Yeah.
And so that's why the physical scientists are astounded by how not just by
So I'm saying the human body is a chromosome. You know, it's haploid.
Big thing. Big thing.
Yeah. So on the one hand, it's just. On the other hand, it's okay. I mean, I'm saying they explain it evolutionary. I'm not getting into that. But I'm not getting into the proofs of God. All I'm saying is one simple thing: that the most we could do is be bespoken into the biology, into the physics, into the beauty of the Bria, and we see God, but we don't see God. We just know that there's God. It's a idea. You still have to make. You still have to have some chachma here. You know, it's not like you're seeing God. I don't know, Moshe Rabbeinu at the Sinai didn't see God. He just saw a manifestation of the Shekhinah. So that's why we say Chai Olamim. Ki chol kavodas libeinu b'chol atfilos v'abakoshos asur liyos rak liyechido shel olam hu ein soif baruch hu. You're only allowed to daven to Hashem. Abnam. This is to me a very confusing. This is really where I want to just take a tangent. Amlam, yes, we daven to Hashem and only to Hashem. Hashem is one, His name is one, and He is, right? Amnam lo mitzad atzmuso yisbarach levad. B'chinas hayosid mufresh me'lamesh. We're not davening to Hashem in the sense that He's in the world. Ela mitzad ischabrusa yisbarach. We're only davening to Hashem as He is attached to the world, enlivening the world. Do you get that? because I don't. So in other words, are you going to daven to the light bulb, or are you not davening to the light bulb? This was the choice of the Avodah Zarah, that they said, well, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mischaber to the moon, let's daven to the moon. Mischaber to the sun, let's daven to the sun. So no, you're only allowed to daven liyichudah shalaylam. So apparently what he's saying is that they're davening on the wrong side of the connection. You don't daven to the sun, you daven to the force, which is enlivening the sun and illuminating the sun and making the sun work. I was thinking, like, you don't daven to physics, right? But the physics is if the more you study it, the more you realize that the physics is a you need something to explain. You need some kind of a higher force. But it's a kasha. Mitzadis chabrusi yisbarach b'rtzonai hapashet l'hai labais v'hisasrei behem la'achyaisa. And again, let's underline the sentence in our minds. We're talking about his hischabrus to the world, b'rtzono hapashet l'hai labais v'hisasrei behem la'achyaisa. B'rtzonai hapashet means the pure ratzon of Hashem. The fact that the world is here is the pure ratzon of Hashem. Hashem wanted to create the world for His reasons. That's Ritzonai HaPashut. V'hisasroi b'hem, and then He hides Himself in those worlds, lahachyosem, in order to keep them alive. Now, doesn't that sound to you, or is it just me, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the world? Atzmus Hashem. But He just said He's not.
He is, but He's hidden.
That's different than He's not. He says Atzmusa Yisbarach is not in the world, not in our neshama. Can't say it's where is He? He's somewhere else.
He said it because it's only his chabrus.
No, if it's his chabrus, then it's not. Then if it's either it's his chabrus or it's nisalem. To me, there's two choices here.
The way he says his sasrei, which sounds like, his chabrus is to join, but his sasrei is like he's then in it, and it's like two things.
It's a stira. It's a contradiction, right?
This is the whole problem with Tzimtzum. No?
Yes. So I want to talk here for a few minutes about a subject which I don't understand, which is not unusual here. And I want to speak about Tzimtzum. You see, the thing is, like, it's hard to understand Tzimtzum. I'll explain a little bit, but it's also it's almost silly to learn this and not talk about Tzimtzum, because otherwise, what are we learning it for? We're just skipping to the parts that give us a little bit of chizuk. That's not a limud. So let's just explain a little bit on Mokem Shiyadenu Magas what we're talking about. I WhatsApp to Reb Chaim Volozhin. Do you see the WhatsApp? So the Reb Chaim Volozhin, Reb Chaim Vital. Reb Chaim Vital, this is where really the whole thing comes from. Did you get it? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cut and paste. Yeah.
Just 1 second. Okay. Let me just give a little bit of history to this. This quote that I sent you is from the Eitz Chaim. Eitz Chaim is the perfect record of Reb Chaim Vital of the Arizal. It's considered the accepted record of what the Arizal actually said. And I'm just really like the history for a minute of Tzimtzum. The Mekubalim before the Arizal was, let's say, the year was the Arizal? Let's say the 16th century. So before him, this wasn't discussed too much, except for, in other words, Zohar words. But it wasn't, the word Tzimtzum wasn't discussed too much. But it was a davar pashut. And I always make this very important point in history. It was a davar pashut to the Rishonim like the Ramban and the other less known Rishonim that dealt in Inyanim of Kabbalah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in this world, I would say. Well, let's put it this way. There's something called in the world of philosophy. There's something called Neoplatonism. So what they believe, those that believed in, that they're not Plato, I don't know if he believed in God, but the Neoplatonists did. And they believed that the world was created as sort of a hierarchy situations. The Rishonim seem to have taken that as a davar pashut. They accepted this. In other words, you have Hashem, and Hashem created Gashmias, and then the Gashmias created more Gashmias, almost like an evolution. That one thing came from the other, but they called it the spheres, the Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, Malchus, until you got to this world. So it was a hierarchy and a sort of a. They didn't get involved with whether Hashem put himself in that next level or he didn't put himself in the next level. The point was that Hashem created the world, maskim, if you believe that, which they did, which we do. So Hashem created the world, and here you have the next level, the next level, the next level, and the further, this was the concept here, the further you get away from Hashem, the more particular it is, and the more detailed it is, and the more Gashmias it is. By the way, it's clear to me that, for instance, the Maharal took this idea. They didn't talk about the question as to whether Tzimtzum, whether Hashem put himself into the world, but there was a problem, because if you say that Hashem created something outside of himself, so that means that Hashem is not everywhere. In other words, there's a basic philosophical problem that, in the words of the Zohar, but it's not because we have a kash of the Zohar, leis asar panui minei, Hashem was everywhere, and according to the Mekubalim, he was samsem himself, he pulled himself out, and then there was a vacuum, a kollel, and then he filled up the kollel with gashmias. Okay, all the fancy story that we have is Hashem everywhere, or is he not everywhere? Is he in everything, or is he not in everything? So the pashtus of the Rishonim was, no, he's not in everything. The Arizal said, how can it be? The Arizal came along and said, how can it be? How can it be that he's not in everything? Like it's basic to say that he's in everything, and that's this was sent over to just a quick history to the to Reb Chaim Vital. Kitarim shenetz a little bit. Let's understand what we can understand. Kitarim shenetzlo hanetzolim and nivru hanivraim. Before Hashem created the whole world, Haya or Elyon Pashut Mimalas Kol HaMetzias. Obviously, Hashem was everywhere, and His light shined everywhere. Like Haya Makam Panui B'Bechinas Avir Reikani V'Cholol. There was no inch in the entire universe or beyond that didn't have Hashem in it. That's before the world was created. Ela Kol Haya Mamula Mina Ora Pashut Hahu. V'Hinei. Says Reb Chaim Vital, the name of the Arizal, Oz Tzimtzum es Atzmai. And this is where the fun began. Now, we could just say, like, why do they make this problem? Because otherwise, you have to make this problem, because otherwise you start getting involved with what is Christianity, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, what is Avodah Zarah, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. It's an important question, it's an important question, but it wasn't clearly addressed. I read through the debate of the like the Ramban with the Archbishop. He doesn't talk about, like, they didn't get into they were talking about Mashiach. You know, how could Yashka be Mashiach if there's still wars in the world? Those were the kind of questions he asked. Oh, good. It's not yet relevant enough to the question as, does God actually walk this world? So this is the Arizal's was concerned. He was mitzamtzem his eternity. Just try to picture this, because it's the best we could do. You know, everyone's seen those Kabbalistic charts with all the concentric circles. So he took himself out of the world into the middle of it. And from there he created out into the world. From this vacuum, he created out to the world until the middle was empty. So in other words, there is a chalal, a halal, like everybody has in their house over here, like an empty space. And then there was like a second stage, where he brought this or ein soif kav echad yasher makam achalalu hetzel bar v'yotzer v'osas kolei lamais kulam. Reb Chaim Vital. So there was so let's just say it in simple words, which are possibly incorrect but a little bit correct. And that is that before the Bria, which we don't know what was going on before the Bria, Hashem was everywhere kipshutai. That's what he says. And then, in order to create the Bria, because Ritzonai Pasha was to create the Bria, he was Masalik himself from the Bria. Now you have a Chalal. And what did he do with this Chalal? He built the Bria inside that Chalal. Okay, where does that leave us? With a Kasha, right? What do we do with that? That's what the Arizal said. And
that sounds like it's not Tzimtzum if he took himself out and created something that.
So he was Mitzamtzem himself. That's the first thing. Now, when he put the world back in, so where was God? Was it a godless world? That's the question. So the Talmidim of the Arizal, other Talmidim of the Arizal, or Baruch Kitaver and others, they explained. But when he created the world, he was mitzamtzem himself back into that Orelian, which is also mashma here. Az himshich mi'arein soif kav echad yashar u'b'makam achol hetzel bar v'yatzer says kolei lamis kulam. So to think about this in a sophisticated way, there was two steps. One step is where he withdrew, and now you have a halal, and then he went back in there with Gashmis, but the Gashmis had him in there, but in a hidden way.
Interwoven within the fabric
with the
of
world. Hidden.
When he says Alomis, he means this world, like we know it, or
Atzilos, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya.
he means that. Okay.
That's the Kavayosha in this book?
That's the Kavayosha.
The idea of removing himself, isn't that a physical
Unto itself.
transformation from one place to another, which is not relevant to God?
Yes. Of course, the question on this is that God doesn't change. Ani Hashem, Leisha Nisi. But let's understand what was bothering them. What was bothering them was that how could it be, how did Hashem create the world? If there's Gashmius, doesn't that push away Hashem? So you have to say, well, it pushed away Hashem, so to speak, but that it was refilled with Hashem Behester. So according to that idea, he's here. He's here, everywhere. Came, Lahavdil, let's say Shabsai Tzvi, and in the writings of Lasan Hazati, the Talmud of Shabsai Tzvi, and he went to town with this, because then we could have a incarnation of Atzvus Hashem in this world. So to him and to the Christians before them, that's what Mashiach was. So this is not just a regular human being. They argued this is something different. This is Atzvus of Hashem in this world. Now, in Lumdus, that kind of works. In practicality, it's very dangerous.
Pandora's box.
Yeah. So and the world was farkishim. Everybody accepted this idea of Shabsai Tzvi. So if you move in history, at the time of Shabsai Tzvi or his students, it was very clear to everyone that God is everywhere and even within people. And that was what they accepted. And then God died, or God converted to become a Muslim and got Bakara. So it wasn't just a disappointment, it was a philosophical change. So the Goin, a couple of generations later,
How many years approximately?
century. So the Vilna Gaon, 140 years later. So the Vilna Gaon comes along and he says that Tzimtzum can't be kivshutai. It's just a mashal. And what you have is, and this is being echoed, just like the Ari was echoed by Reb Chaim Vital, the Goin was being echoed by Reb Chaim Volozhin. What you have is the Nitzaitzis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the aura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the articulation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what the Goin says. He says it in the Sefer Yetzirah. He says it in a couple of places. The Goin says in Nefesh Hachaim, reiterates this. Some say that that's the whole reason why he wrote the Nefesh Hachaim, was to explain that Hashem is not in everything. Because once you say Hashem is in everything, so here's our dilemma, just held cup with you. Once you say Hashem is in everything, you have a pantheistic problem. When you say Hashem's not in everything, you have a bigger problem, because if Hashem's not in everything, so then that means there's something that's void of Hashem. And if Hashem is eternity, is Ein Sof, so where's their room? So you have to come up with this halal, and you have to come up with so all of these were kind of reactions one to the other. But that's what the guide says. Now I didn't show you something. Excuse me one second. In the Tanya, in Shaar Yichud Ve'Amula, Parak Zion, he discusses this. It's like worth learning. But his, as I say, something like his point of view was that if there's just because there's a philosophy which is making bayot, it doesn't mean you change the philosophy, because as he says, which is what you said, that what are you saying, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed over here? Are you saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu is limited? Is there a place where Hashem is not here? So besides for the whole idea of that, then says the Baal Tanya, there's no hashgacha pratis, there's only hashgacha klolis, but it's a mistake. But I just want to read you the Hidei Mikanye. This is the Shaar Yichud Ve'Amuna, was written historically after the Tanya. So in other words, there's the sefer Tanya is one thing. Today we have it all in the Likutei Haber, which is the Tanya, but here in Shaar Yichud Ve'Amuna, Hidei Mikanye Shlohavin Shigagas Mixas Chachamim. He says we can understand now the mistake of the Chachamim. He's referring to the Vilna Gaon. Hashem Yechaper Ba'adam Shishagu V'To'u B'Yunam B'Kisei Arizal. They terribly mistake the writings of Arizal. V'Hevinu, and they understood Inyan HaTzimtzum HaMusker Sham Kipshutai. They understand that when they say HaKadosh Baruch Hu withdrew himself, that they take it literally. Sha'akadosh Baruch Hu silek atzmei mahusai chas v'sholom me'olam hazeh. Rak, so he's complaining about the Gra, that the Gra is understanding the Arizal, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu withdrew from the Bria, and he's only watching it from afar, so to speak. Rak shemashkiach milamalo ba'ashkacha pratis al kol yitzurim kulam asher b'shamayim mimal v'al aretz mitachas. But his watchful eye is watching the whole Bria. V'hinei, says the Baal Tanya, milvad she'yaf sheklal loimer inyan tzimtzum kipshutai shuhu mimikra aguf al HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're giving, first of all, he says you're giving God human tendency. He's here, he's there. You know, like, Uncle Moshe, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is really everywhere. That's because he's a Lubavitcher.
No, he's not a Gronik.
But he's not a Gronik. No, he really is a Lubavitcher. But it's not. He's. Everything is very, very, manipulative here.
It's also the Nanuim of the Lulav is the same thing. No?
Nanuim.
Yeah, up, down, same thing. No?
Up, down, all around. Yeah. Hanivdal mihem. So he's saying, Milvad, so this is a time on the Gra. Not that we understand the Gra. I'm just saying this is what we're learning the Gra. We're learning the Nefesh Hachaim, right? So we're learning the Shitas HaGra. So here I found it for you in one sense. This is what I really should have taken a picture of. Milvad she'yaf sheklal loimer inyan tzimtzum kipshutai should be bikri aguf al HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The reason I wasn't talking about physical things. Hashem withdrew. He's not there anymore. Hanivdal behed riboy revavis hamdalas aden kates. Afgam zois loy bedas yudaberu. They're not speaking with das. They believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yodea Kol HaYitzur B'Shabayil V'Azeh HaShafel U'Bashkiach Halev V'al Korchach Eini Diyosa B'Yisa B'Sifu B'Riboy V'Chidush Nesh Yodea Kol B'Yedias Atzmai. It's not that Hashem knows what's going on in the world, he says, from some outside point of view. As an observer, he is the world. That's what the Zohar says. Mavurish in the Zohar, Leis asar panui minei, loy be eloin, v'loy betatoin. There is no place that doesn't have Hashem in it. Uberayim mehem the Parshas Pinchas. The Nefesh Hachaim also good at quoting Zohars. I'm not, but the Raya mehem, it's also the Zohar. Parshas Pinchas, iu tough is bekula, v'leis bad the tough is bay. He understands, he gets everybody, but nobody gets him. Iu soiviv kolomim, leisman denafik b'shuzei levar. Nobody can get outside of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Iu memale kolomim, memale kolomim. Iu memale kolomim, iu mekasher miyachid v'zina l'zina ilah v'satav v'leis kurva v'dal yisodim el kuchabrichu kadi nabnei. Ad kan l'shoynei, roitz aloymar. Let me explain this to you, says the Baal HaTanya. Leis man the toughest meisha ein mi sheyitvois ba'asagas sichlem mikol sichlem elyon. Nobody can understand this. I admit to you, he says, that nobody could understand this. It's hard to understand. Impossible. Who understands God? Even Hashem in this world. It's not like we could maybe understand a little bit the neshama which is within us. No. We can understand the neshama guf. We could give it words, consciousness, emotion. We could sort of give it words. This you can't understand. Energy. What are you going to understand? The neshama you can understand. Hakois, krirus, chamimos. We have physical attributes. Your point, that there's no shinoi in Hashem ever. Right? Hashem is not changing. The world is changing. Hashem is not changing. So you said here HaKadosh Baruch Hu's memalei kolomen, but he's not nitfas. Nobody can happen. Anyways, it goes on and on. The point being this. The point. The way I understand it is, which is a good point, I think, that the Baal HaTanya is making. The point is that as they say in yeshivas, "Mishtarp nishvar kasha." You don't understand it. Doesn't mean that it changed. You have a problem, a dilemma, so you're going to end up with a Shabsai Tzvi. You're going to end up with a. By the way, what's fascinating historically is that more than the Gra attacked the Baal HaTanya attacked the Gra. Because the Gra doesn't, to my knowledge, the Gra doesn't say anywhere that this is a toes and he's a toya. Later on, he calls him a koifer. Even though he's a God-fearing koifer, he says. Meaning that but what you have here, without trying to understand or certainly not to solve a machlokas, what you have here is the key machlokas, which goes back the Rishonim and the Arizal and the Talmidei Arizal and the Baal Shem Tov and with his brother Rav Gershon and the Hasidim and the Baal HaTanya who took it even further, and then the Gra and Shabsai Tzvi in the middle as a thorn in our side, as to how to understand. It became very relevant to understanding God's place in this world. I don't want to solve that, but what I think it's absolutely ash-shaped, like how you can understand it. But what's clear is that it was a machlekes. That seems to me to be clear, that there is a machlekes. What's interesting is that the story is that the Baal HaTanya came to speak to the Vilna Gaon about it and tried to explain to him, this was exactly what he came for. He was trying to make peace between the Hasidim and the Misnagdim, trying to explain to him what he misunderstood in the Arizal. Try that one on for a second.
How did that go?
Look, you shake when you say the Vilna Gaon. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to even understand. How smart is somebody? Talmidim said that he was like one of the Rishonim, maybe like an Amar, or maybe even like a Tana. I mean, it's hard to, like Rameir, these were high madregas, but the Vilna Gaon wouldn't see the Baal HaTanya when he came. He wouldn't receive him. Obviously, he jumped out the back window and ran away for a couple of weeks. But I said to somebody once, that it's nice that the Baal HaTanya went to see the Vilna Gaon. So he says, "Oh, that's like a Chabad thing to go visit Kaifer." That's okay. Yeah, okay.
Is it true that I heard the Vilna Gaon said that he didn't want to sing because he knew he would be persuaded?
I said that. I heard that from Rav Soloveitchik, Olav Shalom, that he has a Besaira in his brisker Besaira, that the Vilna Gaon said he ran away because he knew if he would see the Hadras Panim up close of the Balatanya, he would never be able to argue with him. He would be, it's interesting how nothing has changed, right? I mean, it's nothing has changed, but it's a deep machlokus. But in a certain way, I'm in trepidation with the Gra, but in a certain way, Efshar Lavin, that the Vilna Gaon was looking at the practical side of this philosophy and saying this is replete with problems, and the Balatanya was saying, maybe, but like you can't change Hashem because you have a problem. I'm sure the Vilna Gaon had a good shot or a good answer. But I'm just saying that seems to be from the Balatanya's point of view the way it is. In reality, I'm just saying as it manifests itself through history, even the last 8 generations, last couple of centuries, you see a big difference. You see a big difference. Why should the again, I'm just speaking philosophically, but why should the Rebbe be Mashiach or the many Gedolim, before him, after him? The answer is because it was their feeling, like Lahavdol Havdol Shabsai Tzvi, that we're talking about Tzmusay Yisbarach, and you're talking on a Berishin Kohen Bachet. So if you're talking on a Berishin Kohen Bachet, so yeah, this is not like a big Talmud Chacham. This is not just like another Moshe Feinstein or something like that.
So the Rebbe himself would have agreed to that?
I don't know. I'm just I don't know. But I mean, he obviously didn't. He didn't say no. But again, like I don't know who's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's an interesting thing for us observers on the sideline to understand that the yachas between a chassid and the Rebbe is different between a Talmud and his Rosh Yeshiva. No matter how big you think your Rosh Yeshiva is, the Rosh Yeshiva nor the Talmud saw themselves as God. And on the contrary, it was always say, chill, don't get too carried away. With in the Luchmishu world, there's a lot of Kavod HaTorah. I mean, I grew up with a lot of Kavod HaTorah, but Kavod HaTorah is different than
Worship.
What could become worship.
Like you think that he could have been Mashiach, right? That's why he didn't say no.
Could be. So this is the machlokes at Tzimtzum. So when we're learning, again, we're just touching the surface, and I'm not, my disclaimer is I'm not saying that I understand or I can explain, but I'm just saying what the machlokes is. So once we know what the machlokes was, clearly machlokes. I mean, how could anybody come along and say it wasn't a machlokes when the Balatanya writes before that? What? I know, but I mean, he says shigagas mixes chachamim.
He claims that there's all.
Lashem is bi'ashem. Okay, maybe we'll go into that, but
If you don't know
it's all based on false information. That's what they say.
That's what he said.
why is it that God changed if you don't know
If God is infinite and He was everywhere, so then that doesn't change. He still has to be infinite. He has to be everywhere. But what's interesting? Let me just before I end, let me just make this last point here. That look what he says. Ela mitzad, we can only relate to Hashem or Nefesh Hachaim. Mitzad is chabru sefer tzonei ha'pasha lamas v'histiroi behem la'achyoisam. He also says that he was master himself in the Bria.
He's in there somewhere.
So if he's in there somewhere, so what's the machlokes? But it seems to be.
It's Hester.
He also says Hester. He also says Leis Machshava Tzvisabeh. So everybody holds Hester. Everybody holds a Hashgacha Pratis. Everybody holds. But he's saying that not to. But it's not in the sense that this person can be God or more God than somebody else, or there's anything in the Gashmi's world that can be God. That can't be. And the pashtus of it's all a question of how you read the Arizal, who was answering a problem that was a philosophical problem because of the Neoplatonism and the Gnostics and things, all the different shittas that existed before him. So maybe we'll go further with this, or maybe we won't. But I just wanted to get that out
also
there.
mean God changed, right? If you say Hester,
If you hide, you're not changing. Right?
It seems like a steer in the Tanya by if he's bothered by the idea of removing himself from somewhere and creating a halal, then Atzmus Hashem should be in a chair as much as a person.
Yeah.
But
there's
what is
more-
a person? That seems to be the same stira that he didn't like.
There's also, I mean, l'chatchila chai, domain chai, tzemea, adam. Like there's different levels of manifestation of godliness in the Bria. So the tzaddik is midas hayisod, to have the highest level. So the chanavi, the chair also, but the highest manifestation is going to be in this tzaddik, and that becomes Mashiach. But yeah, you have to be mataritz that too.
Did any of the Ramchal's writings discuss any of this? He was kind of right in the middle, wasn't he? Time-wise, historically?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Doesn't touch this?
He does.
Oh, getting too complicated.
Well, let's put it this way: the Hasidim did not like the Ramchal. Period.
Did not?
No.
Oh, because we know the God did, for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay,
The Leshem didn't like the Ramchal.
really?